Today we are talking about reflections. The definition of a reflection is a flip or reflecting over a given line. So let's read this example right here. It says, reflect triangle ABC over the y-axis. Now remember, the y-axis is my vertical line, and they have it here in purple. I'm going to just highlight it in yellow, so my yellow or purple line. I have my pre-image triangle ABC, and I reflected it across or over that purple line, or the one that I highlighted in yellow. Now you can see here that, let's look at point A, for example. Point A is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 boxes away from my y. And A prime is also 6 boxes away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's positive 6 away, and A was negative 6 away. And you can see down here that my x for A was negative 6. So therefore, my x for A prime should be positive 6, because that's how far away it is from the line that we are reflecting. Let's go ahead and look at C. Okay, C is minus 2, 1, 2. That was minus 2 away from my line. And you can see here on C, your x is a negative 2. Let's go to C prime. That is positive 2, 1, 2 away from my line, which means that my x is going to be a positive 2. So I'm going to write that right there on the graph. Now, let's look at our B. So B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 6 away from my line, and B prime is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, positive 6 away from my line of reflection. So you can see here, in B, it is negative 6. So that means that B prime, my x is going to be positive 6. So you just have to see how far away the distance is in these scenarios. Now, when we are reflecting over the y-axis, our y's actually stay the same. So what you're going to do is we're just going to go write our y's to be the same. Here on A, our y is 6, so your y should stay a 6 as well. For A prime, you should go to the right 6 and up 6, and that should be where A prime is. And then for B prime, you can see that the y was 2, so it's going to stay the same. For C, the y was 2, so that's also going to stay the same. To the right 2, up 2. And if you look, these points for A prime, B prime, C prime, I'm going to highlight them in green. Those points should be correct for your new image. So I'm going to erase right here. If we look at our image, A prime, B prime, C prime, those points X, Y should be what that triangle is on our graph. Now let's put this into words, or I guess a rule format. So what happened was, when we reflect across the y-axis, we changed the sign of our x, and our y stays the same. That's what that means, negative x comma y. So I went from having my normal xy to changing the sign of x, and y stays the same. So if we look here at A, I'll highlight this in, let's do blue. So x was negative 6 for A, and it was positive 6 for A prime. So I changed the sign of my x value. For B, it was negative 6, and for B prime, it was 6. So I changed from a negative 6 to a positive 6. I changed the sign. Same with C, negative 2 to positive 2. So I changed the sign of my x, and my y's stayed the same. So let's write what this rule means in English. That's what I mean by that in English. So we can write that the x value changes to the opposite sign and you can put that y stays the same. That's what this rule up here means, negative x comma y. And this rule happens when we reflect over the y-axis every single time. Okay, let's go to the next problem below here. Reflect ABC over the x-axis. So I'm going to highlight the x-axis in yellow. And you can see that my blue triangle was my pre-image and my pink triangle is my image, okay? So let's just see what happened when I reflected it. I'm going to start from the center of the line that I'm flipping over at X, and I'm just let's see how far away my R point is. So I go up, let me try that again. So I go up 1, 2, so my R is positive 2 away. My X is, my R prime is negative 2 away because I go up 2 or I go down 2 from the line. So we can see here, if we go look at R, my, my Y was a positive 2 here, which means my Y for my R prime is going to be a negative 2. Let's look how far away Q is. Q is 1, 2, so that's positive 2 away from X. Then Q prime is 1, 2, negative 2 away from my X. And if we look at Q, my X is a positive 2. So Q prime, my X is going to be a negative 2. Now let's look at P. P is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, positive 5 away from my x-axis. And P prime is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 5 away. And you can see here your y is positive 5, so your y for P prime will be negative 5. Now, when we reflect over the x-axis, our x actually stays the same. So we're going to look at our x's. Our x for Q was 6, so our x for Q prime will also be 6. Our x for R was 2, so our x for R prime will stay 2. Our x for P is 2, so our x for P prime will stay 2. Now let's write a rule for reflecting over the x-axis, and this works every single time. The rule is, let's see, I'm going to write it in purple. The rule is x comma negative y. This means that you change your y value, change the y value to the opposite sign, and x stays the same. That is the rule for when we are reflecting over the x-axis, and it will work every single time. Okay, so now you can see here, we have our coordinate points, and I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to highlight it in green. We have our new image triangle, P prime, R prime, Q prime. And the points for that are right here. Q prime, R prime, P prime. We can see the coordinate points for that triangle on our graph. And if we follow this rule, when we reflect over the x-axis where we change the y value to the opposite sign and x stays the same, we can get the correct points every single time. So hopefully you got these notes written down. If you did not, they are posted on Canvas and you can go reference them or watch this video again on Canvas. Let's go to the next one. There's another example, except for here, it says to reflect ABC over the line y equals x. Now, let's think about this. We know how to do this. Y equals x also means y equals 1x plus 0 in slope-intercept form. So let's just graph this right here. 1x plus 0. That means that I know my y-intercept is 0, so I'm going to put a point there. And I know that my slope is 1 over 1. Okay, so I'm going to go up 1 to the right 1 and put a point. Up 1 to the right 1. Up 1 to the right 1. And I'm going to create this line. This is going to be our line of reflection. Then, so my slope is 1 over 1 or negative 1 over negative 1. So I go down 1, left 1, down 1, left 1, all the way to the edge of the graph. So I am creating my line of reflection, and let's draw that as straight as we can. That wasn't very straight, but it's fine. Now, I want to plot my triangle because they did not do it for me. So if I look here, I'm going to plot my point A in red. It's 2, 3. So I'm going to go to the right 2, up 3, put a point there, and that is going to be A. Make sure that you're labeling them as you go. Then I have B. That is 2, negative 2. So I go to the right 2, down 2. And that is going to be B. Okay, then I have C, which is negative 1, negative 4. So I go negative 1, negative 4, and I have C here. Let's see, did I do this right? Yes. Okay, now I connect my points. And I'm going to be reflecting this across the line y equals x, which I already drew that in purple. There is a rule that we can follow for doing this, and it works every single time. And that rule is you have your original points, and then all you do is your x and y switch places. That's it. So let's write that in English. X and y switch places. Okay, so let's look at A, for example. A is 2, 3, so A prime is going to be 3, 2, because I switched the x and y. Let's go plot that. I go to the right 3, up 2, plot that point, and that is A prime. Now let's do B, which is 2, negative 2. I'm going to switch my x and y. So B prime is negative 2, positive 2. And let's go plot that. I start in the middle. I go left 2 and up 2. Put a point, and that is B prime. Now let's do my C, which is negative 1, negative 4. Swap your x and y. So I have negative 4, negative 1. And I'm going to plot that. I'm going to go to the left 4 and down 1. Put a point, and that is C prime. And now I can connect my points to create my triangle. And we reflected it across the line y equals x, or y equals 1x plus 0. There you have it. Always, always follow the rules that I've given you right here. Okay? You switch your y's and your x. That is the rule for reflecting over the line y equals x. Now let's do another example, but this time we are reflecting over the line y equals negative x. So let's think about this. That is y equals negative 1x plus 0. So let's go ahead and graph that, okay? 0 is my y-intercept, so I'm going to go put a point at 0. And my slope is negative 1 over 1. So I go down 1 to the right 1, down 1 to the right 1, down 1 to the right 1, all the way to the edge. And I'm creating my line of reflection. So negative 1, 1 is my slope, or I can switch my signs and do 1 over negative 1. So I go up 1 to the left 1, up 1 to the left 1, all the way to the edge. Now I'm going to draw my line of reflection, and I am reflecting my pre-image triangle ABC over that black line. Now, here we didn't write the coordinate points for A, B, or C. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to do A first, and I'm going to do that in green. A is 2, negative 3. Okay. let's look at B. I'll do that in red. B is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So B is negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Negative 6, negative 7 is B. Yeah, that's right. Okay, and now let's do C, and I'll do that in blue. C is negative 8, and then we go negative 3. Negative 8. Left 8, down 3. Okay, now when we are reflecting over this new type of line, okay, this is a different line than the one that we did before. It's negative x, not x. There is a rule that we can follow when reflecting over this specific line, and this is the rule. We have our normal x comma y, and then we can flip our x and our y and change the signs. So let's write that in English, okay? The x and y switch places, and change to the opposite signs. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's look at A, and we'll write A prime. So A was 2, negative 3. So what I would do is I would switch like this. I would do negative 3, 2. But then I have to change the signs. So my x right now is a negative 3, so let's change that to a positive 3. And then my 2 will switch to a negative 2, so I switch the signs. Okay? Now let's plot that point. Let's do 3, negative 2. So I go to the right 3 and down 2, and that is my A prime. You have to label it as prime. Now let's do B. B is negative 6, 7. So I'm going to switch my x and y. So it should be negative 7, negative 6. But then I have to change the signs. So it's positive 7, comma, positive 6. So I go to the right 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I go up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there. And that is my B prime. Now my C is negative 8, negative 3, so switch x and y and change the signs. So it should be positive 3, positive 8. So I go to the right 3 and I go up 8, and that is my C prime. Now we can connect our points. Oh, that was not right. Connect our points to create our triangle, and this is our new image. Okay? We have our pre-image and our image, and we just reflected it over the line y equals negative x. Now, if you have any questions on anything we just went over, this video will be posted on Canvas, okay? Let's go ahead and do one more example. Right here, we're just going to write the rule. Okay, so I gave you the coordinate points for A, B, and C, and A prime, B prime, C prime. We're just going to write the rule. Whenever we reflect over the y-axis, okay, our x value changes to the opposite sign. Our x value changes to the opposite sign, meaning that the rule is negative x comma y. So my x just changed what sign it was. It went from a positive to a negative, and if it's a negative, it goes to a positive. My y stays the same. So sometimes I might just ask you for the rule and just give you all the information. It's already graphed. I already have all my points, and you just had to write the rule. Okay? So we just went over 5 examples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We did y-axis, x-axis, y equals x, and y equals negative x. And then we did an example where you just wrote the rule. Now what I want you guys to go ahead and do is you're going to do numbers 1 through 8 in your notes where it says reflection practice. So you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. You need to do these in groups or partnerships and then pass them off and make sure that your answers are correct. If they're not graphed, you need to graph them and rewrite the new points, okay? The new points need to be written, and you need both images, the pre-image and the image, okay? That's what I expect you guys to do. And because I'm the best teacher ever, I made you guys a rule paper on page 12. So if you need to go reference the rules and what they mean when you reflect, then please reference page 12. Okay, go ahead and do numbers 1 through 8 and pass them off with the sub. Make sure you have the correct answers. Ready, go.